Howdy, we're back in the Blade Lab. We have a quick video today talking about the shift or non-shift in angle of a fixed angle system that may or may not occur as you move the sorry, got something in the way, as you move the arm from one basically from the center of the blade to an extreme. This is a constant point of discussion among knife sharpeners when dealing with these systems. And the reason is it's unintuitive. When you look at the change in angle of the arm relative to the blade, it appears that the angle is changing as you move away from center. However, that is not the case. And that is something I want to try to demonstrate now. And I know it's not going to put it to rest, but hopefully if you're watching this, it will put it to rest for you. So let's start out here. This is I'm using a Hapstone R1 sharpening system. Great system. But this would apply generally to any of this sort of fixed angle system, whether it's Hapstone or KME or WorkSharp or TS Prof, etc., etc. It would apply, theoretically, in terms of what happens to the geometry of the stone relative to the knife. Now there may be individual differences in if a system isn't perfectly aligned or square. That's a separate issue. That's not what I'm talking about in this video. So let's get started. My setup here is that I have a metal ruler. I don't know if you can see this. Maybe I'll move the camera around later so you get a better idea of what the setup is. But so what I have a metal ruler clamped in the system. I've got it as parallel to the plane of rotation, or the pivot, which is the key distance in terms of determining your angle. So in order to check for parallelness, I'm using a separate ruler, and I'm holding it square to the this bracket, and I'm measuring the distance between the ruler and the bracket, which should be parallel to the knife edge, or ruler edge in this case. So I have them, it's within about 0.5 millimeter. I could probably screw around for an hour and get it, to within 0.1 millimeters, but I'm not going to do that. So I think it's close enough for government work here, as they say. So what I have here is an angle cube, and I'm going to place it on the magnetic portion here. Let me turn the light on so hopefully we can see it better. I'm going to try to make this as perpendicular to the arm in its neutral position as I can, and I'm going to zero it out. So I think you can see that it now says 0. Let me make sure I'm not getting interference from a screw there. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I'm not using a stone because I don't think I don't have a metal plate, diamond plate or anything for this system. And I know that the stones that I have are not 100% flat. I mean, they're nearly flat, but we're trying to be as precise as we possibly can be. So we're at 0. Now let's move the arm to an extreme edge over here, and we can see that the angle is still 0. So there's been no shift from one side to the other. Let's go to the far other extreme, I'm going to make it parallel, and you want to be at the same place on the arm. So this is off over here by 0.2 degrees. And I believe that is probably a result of this not being, 100% parallel. So, but you can see it's a very, very negligible difference. On these systems, where you will get a change in angle is when the distance between this plane, the edge, and this plane, where the pivot is, changes. And obviously it doesn't change if the blade is completely straight. But if you have a curved blade, recurve, or a knife with an extreme belly, then that distance does change. And as the distance gets shorter, your sharpening angle is going to become more steep. We could sort of demonstrate that by angling the ruler. So let's do that. So we'll just angle it that a ways. Tighten that back up. Okay, so now let's look at what happens when we turn the ruler in the clamp. So now it's slanted, so the this side is closer to me, this side is farther away from me. Right now I'm basically as perpendicular as I can get to the pivot point or pivot plane, and it's at 0 degrees. So now that this is slanted, we're going to move out to the end over here. You can see that the angle is 0.65 degrees lower than it was in the center. And if we go to the other extreme, we can see that the angle is about 0.5 degrees higher than it was when it was centered up. So we have a variation of a little more than 1 degree from one end to the other end. And that's because, again, this is the farther you get, the shallower the angle is. The closer you get, the steeper the angle is. It's kind of obvious when you think about it. And then when you're in the middle, obviously it's neutral. So that is something that you have to take into account when you're using, these sorts of fixed angle systems. Is when you have curved blades, you're going to get slight variation on, well, there goes my angle cube. Anyway, let's see if that's still good. Seems to still work. Anyway, where was I? Yes, so you're going to get slight variation on curved blades, and that's just part of the problem. Or it's not, is it a problem? I mean, it's a trade-off. You get the benefits are obviously that you get a very precise flat bevel, very repeatable. The downside is that you don't have the same control that you would have in a freehand situation where you can vary the angle as you choose, which you may want to do if, for example, if you have a curved knife, you can maintain a constant angle along the curve, sort of by raising your elbow up. And that's if you want to have the same angle all along the edge. Another situation you might have is you could have, for example, a knife that is thicker towards the tip than it is on the flat part of the blade. And in that case, you might want a higher angle. And you might want it to be higher than you would get just as a result of the geometry in the clamping situation. And you can do that freehand. So freehand has that advantage. It just gives you more flexibility. However, it requires obviously more skill, more practice, and it's never going to be as precise as a fixed angle system. So that's it for today. Sorry I have had no content up for the last week or so. I've had some real family issues, aging parents situation, and I think we all know that family has to come first. So I hope that that will be resolved for a while, and I'll be able to have content up more regularly in the coming weeks. Until then, thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe. Please like if you liked, and take it easy.